the truth underlying all of this is that women are very sexual, and I don't need to belabor that point. This is not a beliefs class, but for any of us men here who have had a little bit of a sexual experience, you know that your woman is a lot dirtier than you think she is. And for more on that, see Chris Rock, Bigger and Blacker. Over text messaging, it's a great way to get her sexual. A fair number of these techniques I've actually pulled right from our forum. They're not mine, and so I think you recognize them. Some of these are my techniques, and so we will talk about them now. The one that I really like is just figuring out how sexual she is. Okay, and there's a couple of ways you can do this. If we look at the tear sheet, you can start by looking at the nicknames. Okay, so you start calling her some sexy nicknames, like, hey, sexy face. That's going to at least initiate and seed the sexual aspect of the conversation. If you've kissed her already, food, yum, so delicious, just like your lips. Okay, you're usually not gonna go like sexual with the girl who you've never even met up with before, right? Accusations. This is a great one that Race came up with. Was that you outside peeping me changing into my gym clothes? Dirty girl. I've used that to great effect. It sort of insinuates and accuses her of being dirty. Another one that I liked a lot, and I use this one a lot, was, if you're texting a girl like right before she goes to bed, you say something like, remember, you better keep my clothes on in your dreams. That's a great one. And that'll start to... So you do stuff like that, and you're going to see how she responds. If she responds really well, and she's like, comes back at me, she's like, I can't make any promises, you know that like she's ready to take the conversation more sexual. If she writes back like, where did that come from? You know you're dealing with a different sort of girl. Sorry, it's just a standard warning I've got to give to everyone. I hope it didn't offend you. Here's a couple of examples of text to sex. This first one comes from our forum. This is okay, bedtime, nighty-nighty, X. X is for a kiss. She goes, night-night, X. He goes, I want to fuck you in your bed and read you a story. And then, oops, damn predictive text, tuck you in your bed. And she said, haha, perhaps I'd prefer the first one. And he says, if you're lucky. So clearly he had already had sex with the girl at this point, but it's a great way of spicing it up. One that I've used, and this one was great. Okay, see you in about 63 sex. So this is like when a girl is about to show up on a date, and this is really good for like a second or third date. If she texts you and she's like, because oftentimes I'll get to my dates before the girl. And this is a stark contrast to my early 20s when I would show up 45 minutes late and girls would get pissed. And I don't recommend that. So I'll show up a little bit early. I'll be like, hey, I'm here. I'm sitting at the bar. Holler when you're nearby. And then sometimes a girl will be like, okay, I'm right nearby. And I'll be like, okay, cool. I'll see you in about 63 sex. Right? And then 63 sex, SECX. And then, in this case, this girl wrote back, LOL, thought you'd invented a new move. And maybe I have, maybe I haven't, but either way, autocredit isn't getting credit for it. So that was a really funny way of like introducing sexuality. Worked out great. These two are from our forum. Line by line is, the client said, hey, want to play line by line? She said, what's that? He says, well, we make a story, but you can only send one sentence at a time. She goes, okay. He says, I'll start. You walk in my room wearing nothing but that little black nightie. She says, slowly walk over to your bed and start to kiss you. So, this is the sort of thing that you can just go on with forever and ever and ever. And this is where it stopped in our forum. But you can see where, again, if you were in a relationship with a girl and you wanted to turn up the heat or prepare for like a great night, this could really, bring some sparks into it. A final one is word association. And this one I loved. And it had like all the guys in our forum who tried this were like, holy shit, that's like the best technique ever. I can't believe it works so well. So to read it out, he said, okay, we're going to play a game. I'm going to send you one word, and you have to think of a word that suits it and vice versa. She goes, okay. Spank, bondage, oral pleasure, deep, hard. So, this actually goes into, we were talking about that book earlier, Thinking Fast and Slow. Obviously there's a technique. I'll explain why it works very briefly. Priming is this interesting notion where if you have people reading certain words and saying certain words, it just primes them for certain activities. So in this one study they did, they had these psychology students just write down random words and then walk them over to drop them off at the researcher's desk. In one group, they had write down a couple of like very non-descriptive words like dishwasher, camera, chair. Another group, they had words associated with old people, wrinkled, elderly, etc., like 5 of those words. And they actually timed the students, and all of the students who wrote down the old related words walked more slowly to turn in the paper than the students who had written the nondescript words. And so the whole priming aspect of it had basically tuned the students into walking more slowly like elderly people, which it's so amazing to me and how weird that is. But that's basically the principle that this works on, is you're just priming sexual words with the girl. And so it works quite well. So that is text to sex. Again, we kept the section short. There's not a whole lot in the way of, theory that you need to know. It's just if you've already gone a little bit far with the girl, push it a little bit further. If you want to turn her on before you see her, these are some of the great techniques to use. I personally have never done really hardcore sexual stuff over text messaging before I've had sex with a girl. So I really can't comment on that. There is one other thing. Pull my Steve Jobs moment. So one other thing. How to get a girl's pictures. And this one it's actually really not that hard. Again, this comes from our forum. This is something that has worked for just about everybody who does it. And it's definitely worked for me. You start off by sending her a picture of yourself in some sort of new shirt, new outfit, something that just looks pretty good on you. A suit is great. Hey, peep the new threads. And so she writes back, ooh, sexy, And so you're going to write back, okay, now your turn. So she sends something that is that makes her look really good. And so you just kind of start going back and forth with that. And you really got to compliment her, wow, that looks amazing on you. Oh my God, let me see the back of it. And then you send her one of your butt or something in the mirror, not your real butt. You're wearing the suit and you take a little shot of how amazing does my butt look in this? So you're just slowly ramping up the sexuality of the photos, and usually she'll take the lead on that. I've been surprised that without naming names, even the most conservative girls I have ever dated, ever in my life, have sent me pictures when I've allowed them to express their sexuality comfortably, when I've kind of taken the lead in doing a little picture exchange, and when I've really complimented them on how sexy they are and how much I love seeing their pictures. And so that is the simple, quick and dirty way to get dirty pictures. And just make her feel good about it. That's a key thing. This is one of those things where a girl's investing a lot. And you send her, especially if you guys have already hooked up, she sends you some dirty pictures, be like, oh my God, I can't wait to put my hands on your incredible body when I see you again. Stuff like that. Make her feel good. Don't push her away at that point. Wow, you need to stop eating the Haagen-Dazs. Not good. So, all right. All right, guys, we'll call this section a day. We'll move on to case studies.